You have arranged your life, have you not, to minimize difficulty. You have built comfortable routines, avoided unnecessary challenges, eliminated most struggles from your daily existence. You congratulate yourself on this wisdom. You believe you have solved the problem of how to live. But I must tell you something you will not wish to hear. Every comfortable choice you make is extracting a price you cannot see. With each difficulty avoided, you become less capable of facing difficulty. With each challenge sidestepped, you become more afraid of challenge. With each year spent in comfortable patterns, you become more imprisoned by those patterns. You think you are protecting yourself. You are not. You are slowly, methodically, comfortably destroying yourself. I can prove this to you. Think back to when you last felt truly alive, not comfortable, not content, but genuinely, fiercely alive. I will wager anything that it was during challenge, difficulty, struggle, not during ease. The moments you remember most vividly are not your comfortable days, but your difficult ones. This is not accident but law, and if you will follow where this truth leads, I will show you something extraordinary, that the life you have been fleeing is the life you actually want, the walls you built to protect yourself. Most men, I have observed, spend their lives constructing what they believe to be a fortress of security, only to discover they have built a prison. Every comfortable routine, every risk avoided, every difficulty sidestepped adds another bar to your cage. You need not look far to see the evidence. Examine your own days honestly. What conversations do you avoid? What challenges do you refuse? What discomforts send you scurrying back to familiar ground? Each represents a wall you have built, and together they form the cell in which you now sit. I knew a colonel during the Great War, a brave man, decisive under fire, respected by all who served with him. He survived Flanders with distinction, having discovered capacities within himself he never knew existed. 10 years after the armistice, I encountered him at his comfortable estate in Surrey. He had arranged every detail of his life to eliminate uncertainty. The same schedule governed his days. The same companions filled his evenings. The same conversations occupied his dinners. When I suggested he join me on a journey to the Mediterranean, he declined immediately. Too unpredictable, he said. Too uncomfortable. The war hero had become a prisoner of his own comfortable arrangements. You see, the comfortable man believes his walls protect him from danger. In truth, they protect him from life itself. Consider this carefully. You have been conducting a sort of inventory these many years, though you may not have recognized it as such. With each decision, you have asked yourself not, what is the better path, but rather, what is the easier path? The accumulated weight of these small choices has tremendous consequence. They have become your character. Now I propose a simple exercise. Though I warn you, the results may prove uncomfortable. For the next 72 hours, carry a small notebook, the kind that fits in your pocket. Each time you make a choice based on comfort rather than wisdom, make a mark. Do not judge yourself, simply observe. When the impulse arises to avoid a difficult conversation, mark it down. When you choose the familiar path over the unfamiliar, note it. When you select what is easy over what is right, record it faithfully. Most men discover they make 30 such choices each day, 90 over 3 days. This number, confronted honestly, reveals precisely how you have been constructing your cage. The pattern becomes unmistakable. You will see that certain types of discomfort you avoid with particular consistency, perhaps difficult conversations, perhaps physical challenges, perhaps intellectual struggles that might reveal your limitations. The primary error men make in this exercise is believing they can distinguish between necessary rest and comfortable imprisonment without rigorous honesty. They label their prison prudence and congratulate themselves for occupying it. Do not attempt to eliminate all comfortable choices immediately. This leads to exhaustion and failure. The goal at present is not to change, but to see clearly. When you see your prison, when you truly see it, you cannot pretend the bars do not exist. This awareness, though uncomfortable, is the essential first step toward freedom. But seeing your prison raises a more disturbing question. Why did you build it? What made comfort seem so desirable that you were willing to trade freedom for it? The answer lies in a fundamental misunderstanding about what comfort actually does to human beings. The soldier's return and the death of fire, the thing you pursue most desperately, often becomes the instrument of your destruction. I observed this pattern in thousands of men after the Great War. Young soldiers who had endured unimaginable hardship returned home with fire in their eyes, having discovered capacities they never knew they possessed. They had stared into the abyss and emerged transformed, stronger, more capable, more alive than they had ever been in civilian comfort. 5 years later, I would encounter these same men, comfortable in their homes, settled in their routines, that fire extinguished. They had not suffered some tragedy. They had achieved exactly what they yearned for in the trenches, yet the comfort that sustained them through hell destroyed them in peacetime. The transformation was not sudden but gradual, each comfortable day diminishing them slightly, until nothing remained but a hollow man in a comfortable chair. You see, in the trenches, these men dreamed of soft beds and warm fires. This dream sustained them. It gave them something to survive for. But they made a fundamental error in understanding what comfort could provide. They imagined that comfort would restore them to their former selves. Instead, comfort remade them into something far less. They mistook the absence of hardship for the presence of vitality. Let me explain the distinction that most men never grasp. There exists a difference between rest that restores and comfort that destroys. Rest that prepares you for greater effort is essential. I myself discovered this during long years of public service. But comfortable ease that makes you less willing to exert yourself is poison. How do you distinguish between them? Ask yourself daily, am I more capable today than yesterday, or merely more comfortable? The honest answer reveals whether you are growing or decaying. Consider a practical test you can conduct this very week. Take some challenge you have been avoiding, perhaps a difficult conversation, perhaps a physical exertion, perhaps an intellectual struggle. Notice the comfortable impulse to defer it, to wait for a better moment, to make excuses. Then ask, am I avoiding this because it is genuinely unwise or because it is uncomfortable? If the answer is the latter, you have identified a moment where comfort is diminishing you. The soldier who dreams of comfort during battle is sustained by that dream, but the soldier who achieves comfort and remains in it dies a death more complete than any battlefield could provide. For on the battlefield, at least, he lived fully. In comfortable dissolution, he merely exists a diminished version of what he was, growing smaller by the day. This is the terrible truth about comfort. It gives you exactly what you ask for, and in giving it, destroys you. Measure yourself not by what you have achieved, but by what fire remains in you. When nations choose comfort over truth, a comfortable man is merely unfortunate. A nation of comfortable men is prepared for conquest. In the decade before the present war, I watched my nation choose comfortable delusions over difficult truths. Good men, intelligent, well-meaning men convinced themselves that Hitler could be appeased, that if we merely accommodated his demands, perhaps he would be satisfied. This comfortable thinking felt prudent. It avoided immediate confrontation, but it was not prudent. It was catastrophic. The comfortable choice to avoid difficult confrontation cost millions their lives. I spoke against this appeasement and was dismissed as a warmonger, as a man who preferred war to peace. The comfortable men preferred comfortable leaders who told comfortable lies. When the test came, comfortable thinking proved utterly inadequate to the demands of reality. The tanks did not stop because we found their advance inconvenient. Now you must understand that this pattern operates not merely at the scale of nations, but in your own life. Learn to identify when you are attempting to accommodate a problem rather than confront it. hoping it will resolve itself if you make yourself comfortable enough with it. The difficult employee you avoid confronting, the deteriorating relationship you hope will improve without difficult conversation, the problem at work you accommodate rather than address. Each is personal appeasement. Each fails for the same reason. National appeasement failed. The appeaser's reasoning follows a predictable pattern. Why force a confrontation when we can find a comfortable accommodation? Surely reasonableness will be reciprocated. It sounds wise. It is not. The test you must apply to every significant decision is this: are you choosing this path because it addresses the problem, or because it avoids uncomfortable confrontation? Here is what you must do immediately. Identify the one problem you have been attempting to accommodate rather than confront. You know which one it is, the problem you think about frequently but take no direct action on, hoping it will somehow resolve itself. Within the next 7 days, confront this problem directly, not aggressively, but honestly. State the difficult truth you have been avoiding. You will discover something remarkable. The anticipated discomfort is almost always worse than the actual confrontation. You will find that accommodating the problem has been more costly than addressing it would have been. Do not conclude that all compromise is appeasement or that confrontation is always required. Compromise from strength after honest assessment can be wise. Accommodation from comfort, avoiding honest assessment, is appeasement. The comfortable choices you make today determine your capacity to face tomorrow's crises. This is not philosophy but survival, both individual and collective. Use it or watch it die. Life is not preservation but movement, either toward greater capacity or toward decay. This is not philosophy but biology, as certain as any natural law. What is not used is lost. The muscle that rests too long atrophies. The mind that accepts no challenge grows dull. The spirit that avoids difficulty becomes incapable of rising to meet it when circumstance demands. You cannot maintain your current state through comfortable routine. This is the comfortable delusion most men embrace. The belief that if they simply continue their present level of effort, they will preserve their present capacities. They will not. The body operating below its capacity does not maintain, it diminishes. The comfortable man tells himself he is staying in shape, while his shape slowly changes into something less. I discovered this truth myself during my wilderness years in Parliament, when I was not exercising my capacities at their fullest. When I accepted comfortable obscurity, I felt myself declining, not dramatically, but steadily. It was only when I returned to full exertion, when circumstances demanded everything I possessed, that I found my capacities not merely preserved, but expanded. Now you must conduct an honest audit of your own decline. Take any capacity that matters to you: physical strength, mental clarity, emotional resilience. Are you more capable in this area than you were 1 year ago? If not, you are experiencing decay. You may have been very busy arranging your comfortable life, but busyness is not the same as challenge. The comfortable man can be tremendously active while his actual capacities atrophy. The path forward is clear, though not comfortable. You must push yourself beyond your current operating level regularly, not recklessly, but deliberately. If you can run a mile comfortably, you must attempt 2. If you can speak before 10 people easily, you must attempt 20. If you can manage familiar problems smoothly, you must seek unfamiliar ones. This is not about achievement for its own sake, it is about arresting decay and reversing it. What is not used is being lost right now, this very day. You can no longer comfort yourself with the delusion that you are maintaining your current state. You understand that life is not static but dynamic, either growth or decay. The law is implacable, but now you know it and can work with it rather than against it. Choose challenge or accept decay, for these are your only options. The comfortable middle ground you imagined does not exist. The man who works to destroy himself, the man pursuing comfort, is engaged in a paradox he cannot see. He works tirelessly to create conditions that will make him incapable of work. He strives mightily to reach a state where striving is no longer necessary. He uses all his strength to build a life that requires no strength. When he succeeds, the very act of succeeding destroys him. I knew a successful businessman who worked himself nearly to death building his fortune, driven by the vision of comfortable retirement where he would finally be able to rest. He achieved his goal at 55, sold his business, and retired to a comfortable estate. Within 2 years, he was miserable, purposeless, his capacities deteriorating, his days empty despite every comfort. Within 5 years, he had died, not from disease, but from comfortable uselessness. He had succeeded completely at his life's goal, and this success had killed him. The tragedy was not that he worked hard, but that he worked hard for the wrong thing, comfortable incapacity, rather than continued capability. You see, when you hear yourself say, "Once I achieve this, I can finally relax," you have identified a moment of self-sabotage. The goal of finally relaxing is a goal of decay. Examine every goal you are pursuing and ask, am I working toward greater capacity or toward comfortable ease? Most men discover that their primary goals, early retirement, simplified routines, minimized responsibilities, are actually goals of diminishment disguised as achievement. All effort should build capacity for greater effort, not eliminate the need for effort. Your work should make you more capable of difficult work, not more desirous of ease. Here is what you must do now. Write down your top 5 goals. For each, ask brutally, if I achieve this, will I be more capable or more comfortable? If more comfortable, you have identified a destructive goal. Rewrite each comfortable goal as a capacity goal. Instead of reduce my working hours, write build capability to accomplish more in less time, enabling greater challenges. This shifts your tremendous energy from self-destruction to self-building. The success you have been pursuing is a form of failure. The rest you have been seeking is a kind of death. You can now redirect your considerable effort away from building comfortable incapacity and toward building genuine capability. The energy and determination are unchanged. Only the target has shifted. You have moved from working against yourself to working for yourself, from pursuing comfortable suicide to building vital capacity. The question that remains is whether you will make this shift or whether you will continue laboring mightily toward your own diminishment. What Rome teaches about your Tuesday morning. Rome conquered the world through discipline and hardship, then lost it through luxury and ease. This pattern is not unique to Rome. It appears in every civilization that ever chose comfort over capability. During the years between the wars, I watched this pattern repeat itself in modern form. Britain had survived the Great War through tremendous hardship and discipline. We emerged victorious and exhausted, convinced we had earned rest. We pursued comfortable policies, comfortable foreign relations, comfortable military reductions. This felt wise after such suffering, but it was catastrophic preparation for what came next. When Hitler rose, we were comfortable and weak, having spent 2 decades choosing ease over readiness. Rome's pattern repeated: victory through hardship, then decline through comfort, then catastrophic vulnerability when the next test came. History's lesson ignored. Now you must understand that this teaching is not ancient history but immediate practical wisdom. Rome's decline followed clear stages. First, achievement through difficulty. Second, comfort as reward for achievement. Third, comfort becoming the goal itself. Fourth, loss of capacity that enabled achievement. Fifth, vulnerability to new challenges. Finally, collapse. Map these stages onto your own life. Most men are somewhere between stages 2 and 4, mistaking comfortable decline for wisdom while capacity erodes. Which stage do you occupy? Rome's fate was decided not in dramatic moments but in countless ordinary days when comfortable choices replaced difficult ones. Your fate is being decided right now, this week, in how you spend your Tuesday morning. Do you rise when rising is difficult and engage with challenge, or do you sleep late and seek comfortable routine? Rome fell on 10,000 comfortable Tuesday mornings before the armies arrived. So do you. Study any great civilization's decline, and you will find the same pattern. Comfort as a reward becomes comfort, as a right becomes comfort, as an entitlement becomes catastrophic incapacity. Apply this to your own progression. When did comfort shift from occasional rest to daily expectation? When did you begin feeling entitled to ease rather than grateful for capability? These shifts mark your personal decline. But Rome could not break the pattern because no one recognized it until too late. You can break it because you see it clearly. Whenever you feel entitled to comfort, recognize this as the beginning of Roman decline at personal scale. Respond by choosing difficulty instead. History has become your teacher, Rome your warning, and every Tuesday morning your test. You can no longer make comfortable choices unconsciously, for you see where they lead, what you trade for comfort without knowing. Every comfortable choice is a transaction, but you see only one side of the exchange. You receive immediate ease. You pay with future capability. Most men never notice the price being extracted because the cost appears gradually, disguised as aging or circumstance or just how things are. I watched a friend trade his future incrementally without realizing it. Each comfortable choice seemed trivial: sleeping an extra hour, declining a challenging assignment, avoiding a difficult conversation, choosing entertainment over demanding reading. No single choice was catastrophic, but over a decade, the accumulated cost was devastating. His physical capacity declined, his mental sharpness dimmed, his willingness to face difficulty atrophied. When crisis came, as it always does, he was unprepared. He stood paralyzed, unable to respond, wondering how he had become so incapable. I knew he had traded capability for comfort, one comfortable day at a time, never seeing the price until the bill came due. With each comfortable choice, you conduct an invisible transaction. You trade physical resilience for physical ease, mental sharpness for mental rest, emotional strength for emotional comfort, willpower for convenience. The transaction happens immediately, though the accounting appears slowly. Start tracking these trades explicitly. Before each comfortable choice, ask, "What am I trading for this ease?" The honest answer reveals the hidden cost you have been paying unconsciously. Here is what you must understand. You imagine you are preserving capability for when it will be needed. You are not. You are trading it away daily. The capacity you do not use today is less available tomorrow. The challenge you avoid this week becomes more difficult next week. The comfortable year produces not a well-rested person, but a diminished one. Now conduct this audit immediately. List the comfortable choices you made yesterday. For each, write specifically what you traded for that comfort. Physical ease cost you physical capability. Mental rest cost you mental sharpness. Emotional comfort cost you emotional strength. The list reveals your transaction history, what you have been trading away while believing yourself prudent. Most men discover they have been conducting these transactions blindly for years, never seeing what they were giving up. The transformation comes when you see both sides of every transaction clearly. You can still choose comfort, but now you choose deliberately, knowing the price and deciding whether the exchange is worth making. Most often, when you see the true cost, you discover the comfortable choice is not worth what it costs. This knowledge ends blind, comfortable choosing and begins conscious capability building. You have become a deliberate trader rather than an unconscious one. The slow death of awareness. Comfort does not merely make you weak, it makes you asleep. The comfortable routine numbs awareness gradually until you move through life in a kind of waking sleep, responding automatically to familiar stimuli while consciousness itself dims. I have watched this happen to men of great intelligence and capability. They develop comfortable routines and slowly disappear inside them, their awareness narrowing to the small, familiar circles they traverse daily. The days blur together because they are identical. Months pass unremembered because nothing requiring attention occurred. Years accumulate while consciousness sleeps, punctuated only by occasional disruptions that briefly wake the sleeping man before he returns to comfortable slumber. This is not living, but a kind of death-breathing, moving, but not truly awake to experience. Difficulty forces awareness. When you face genuine challenge, you must be present, alert, engaged, conscious. Comfortable routine requires no consciousness. You can perform your comfortable patterns while mentally absent. Test this yourself. Recall your activities from 3 days ago. Can you remember them distinctly, or do they blur together in comfortable fog? If blurred, you have been living in waking sleep. The comfortable man tells himself he is conserving mental energy for important matters. He is actually allowing consciousness itself to atrophy through disuse. Learn to recognize the difference between being awake and being asleep while your eyes are open. The test: does today feel distinct from yesterday? Are you aware of your own experience as you live it, or merely performing comfortable patterns automatically? Here is your remedy. Choose one genuinely difficult thing today, something requiring full attention and presence. Engage with it completely for 20 minutes. Notice how awareness sharpens, how consciousness returns. Now understand, this sharpness is available always, but comfortable routine allows it to dim. You must choose difficulty deliberately to maintain awareness, or comfort will put you to sleep while you believe yourself awake. You now understand that consciousness itself is at stake in your comfortable choices. Every comfortable day is a day spent partly asleep. Years of comfortable living are years lost to waking sleep. This knowledge makes comfortable routine intolerable, for you can no longer pretend that comfortable unconsciousness is the same as conscious living. You have chosen to remain awake rather than asleep at the wheel of your own existence. How comfort destroys everyone you love. The comfortable man avoids all conflict, all difficult truths, all conversations that might disturb the peace. He believes this makes him a good friend, partner, or parent, maintaining harmony by avoiding confrontation. But relationships built on comfortable evasion are not relationships at all. They are mutual pretenses, agreements to leave each other undisturbed rather than to help each other grow. I had a friend whose father never criticized him, never demanded excellence, never spoke difficult truths, all in the name of maintaining comfortable relations. My friend thought himself fortunate to have such an understanding father, but when he entered the world unprepared, lacking the discipline and character that honest paternal challenge would have built, he understood differently. His father's comfortable silence had been not love but failure of love, a refusal to do the difficult work of genuine fatherhood. Examine your closest relationships honestly. How many difficult truths remain unspoken in the name of not making waves? Each unspoken truth is a place where comfort has replaced connection. The relationship feels peaceful but is actually hollow. True connection requires the capacity to speak and hear difficult truths. False peace is merely mutual avoidance agreeing to call itself harmony. The friend who tells you only what you wish to hear is not your friend but your enabler. The honest friend, the one willing to speak uncomfortable truths when necessary, is worth more than 100 comfortable companions. If you truly love someone, you must be willing to make them uncomfortable when discomfort serves their growth. This is not cruelty, but the highest form of love. Identify the one difficult conversation you have been avoiding in your most important relationship. Within 3 days, initiate that conversation. Not accusatorially, but honestly. There is something important we have not discussed, and avoiding it is damaging our relationship. Speak the truth you have been withholding. In most cases, the anticipated disaster does not materialize. The honest conversation strengthens rather than damages the relationship. You now understand that love and comfort are often opposed, that truly caring for someone requires the willingness to make them uncomfortable when discomfort serves their growth. Every difficult truth left unspoken is a betrayal of relationship. The comfortable silence you called kindness was actually a failure of love. You have become capable of genuine connection rather than merely comfortable proximity. Sometimes the highest form of love is the willingness to disturb comfort for the sake of truth. The battle you win before breakfast. Every day's outcome is largely determined by one decision: what you do in the first conscious moments after waking. The man who rises when rising is still difficult, who begins his day by overcoming resistance rather than yielding to it, has already won the battle that shapes everything that follows. In my own life, I developed a deliberate practice. I worked from bed immediately upon waking, not from laziness, but from understanding that beginning work before comfortable delay could assert itself gave me mastery over the day. Later, I ensured vigorous physical activity, painting for hours, laying bricks, walking Chartwell's grounds regardless of weather. The pattern was deliberate: engage difficulty while still fresh, prove to myself that I was not commanded by comfortable impulse, establish momentum that carried through every subsequent challenge. This practice sustained me through the war years when easy surrender would have been catastrophic. Your first conscious choice creates a template for every choice that follows. Rise immediately when consciousness returns, and every subsequent difficult choice becomes easier. Remain in bed seeking more comfort, and every subsequent comfortable choice becomes more likely. This is not mysticism but practical psychology. First choices establish patterns and momentum that shape the entire day. The difficulty of rising is resistance, your comfortable self fighting against effort. The voice saying just 5 more minutes or you need more rest is not your ally but your comfortable self attempting to maintain control. Recognize it, name it. This is resistance speaking, not wisdom, and act against it deliberately. The battle is lost if you wait until morning to decide whether to rise. Decide the night before: tomorrow I will rise when I first wake, regardless of how I feel. Tonight, before sleep, make this specific decision: tomorrow morning, at 7 o'clock, I will do 30 press-ups immediately upon rising. Write this commitment down. Place it where you will see it immediately upon waking. When morning comes, execute without debate or negotiation. No deciding how you feel. Simply do what you committed to do. After 7 days of this practice, you will have won 7 morning battles and established the foundation for sustained character development. You now possess the most fundamental practice of character building, the daily morning victory over comfortable impulse. You can no longer lie comfortably in bed without recognizing what you are surrendering, not merely minutes, but the day's entire trajectory. Not merely rest, but self-command. You have moved from understanding principles intellectually to implementing them practically. The morning battle is where transformation happens daily, and you have begun to win it. The truth about how you actually grow. Growth does not happen in your comfort zone or in impossible extremes. It happens at the precise boundary of your current capability. At Harrow, I struggled terribly with Latin while other boys coasted through their lessons with natural facility. I envied them their ease. But I noticed something curious. These boys who coasted never improved much beyond their initial ability. Meanwhile, I perpetually at the boundary of my capability, constantly struggling with material just beyond my current mastery, made steady progress. Years later, I had surpassed many who had once far exceeded me. They had remained comfortably within their existing capacity. I had constantly worked at its boundary. The lesson became clear. Comfort maintains, actually decays, while boundary work builds. Those who remain comfortable with current challenges stop growing. Those who constantly seek challenges just beyond current capacity continue growing indefinitely. For any skill or capacity, Your boundary is where difficulty begins, where comfort ends, and genuine challenge starts. Most men avoid this boundary, preferring to repeat comfortable performances of established capability. This is their error. Spend most of your practice time at this boundary, deliberately engaging with what is currently difficult. As competence increases, deliberately choose harder challenges to maintain boundary work rather than comfortable repetition. Here is a principle you must understand. Roughly 80% of growth comes from 20% of activities, specifically those activities at the boundary of your capability. Identify which activities are truly challenging versus which are merely busyness within comfortable competence. Ruthlessly eliminate comfortable busyness and replace it with boundary work. Most men spend 80% of effort on comfortable activities, producing 20% of growth, while neglecting the 20% of activities that produce 80% of growth. What challenged you 3 months ago should be comfortable now, requiring new challenges to maintain growth. Track this explicitly. Record what is difficult today. In 90 days, if those same things are still difficult, you have not been working at true boundary level. You have been repeating comfortable challenges. If they have become easy, you have grown and now need harder challenges. When you notice yourself repeating the same challenges without struggle, you have plateaued in comfortable competence. The growing man recognizes plateaus immediately and deliberately chooses harder challenges. Discomfort with current challenges is the signal that you are growing. Comfort with current challenges is the signal that you are stagnating. Why you cannot do this alone. Comfortable men congregate with comfortable men, each reinforcing the other's comfortable choices and calling it wisdom. You cannot forge character in such company. The social pressure toward comfortable conformity will overwhelm individual resolve. I learned this during my wilderness years, those long decades between the wars when I warned against comfortable appeasement while surrounded by men committed to it. Their comfortable thinking was infectious, their comfortable logic seductive. Had I not also maintained connection with those few who understood the danger, who reinforced rather than undermined resolve, I might have succumbed to the comfortable consensus. The right 3 people in your life matter more than the right 100 techniques. The wrong 3 people make transformation nearly impossible, regardless of your determination. This is not exaggeration, but observable reality. Examine your closest companions honestly. Do they support your commitment to difficulty or undermine it? When you speak of choosing challenge over ease, do they encourage or discourage? When you attempt something difficult, do they admire your effort or suggest you are being excessive? Most men discover, upon honest examination, that their closest companions actively sabotage their transformation efforts, not from malice, but from their own commitment to comfort. Your difficult choices make them uncomfortable with their comfortable ones. They will attempt, consciously or not, to return you to comfortable patterns that justify their own. This is the social gravity of comfortable thinking, pulling everyone toward the comfortable mean. Now you must deliberately restructure your social environment. For the next 30 days, track this data. After time with each person in your life, do you feel more or less capable of choosing difficulty? More or less committed to growth? More or less inclined to surrender to comfortable impulses? The data reveals who supports versus undermines your transformation. Then act on this data. Increase time with those who lift your standards. Decrease time with those who lower them. Seek people who are striving and honest, not necessarily those who have arrived. The companion who struggles alongside you is more valuable than the comfortable expert. Also understand that you need not announce your social restructuring dramatically. Simply spend less time with undermining influences while spending more with supporting ones. The transition can be gradual and kind, but it must happen. Social environment determines outcomes more than individual willpower. You have taken responsibility for designing your environment deliberately, rather than accepting whatever social circumstances random life provided. The iron law of excellence. Human excellence has never been produced by comfortable societies. Every great age of achievement, Athens under Pericles, Republican Rome, Elizabethan England, was characterized not by ease but by striving. Their greatness came not despite their difficulties but through them. I have lived through the greatest upheavals in human history and observed this pattern repeatedly. People rise to greatness when circumstances demand it, and decline to mediocrity when circumstances permit it. The same British people who nearly collapsed under comfortable peacetime thinking rose to extraordinary heights when war demanded excellence. The transformation was not that different people appeared, but that comfortable circumstances shifted to demanding ones. The people were always capable of greatness. Comfort had kept that capability dormant. When difficulty arrived, dormant capability awakened. This reveals that excellence is not created by comfortable conditions, but revealed by demanding ones. Track this in yourself. When have you performed at your highest level? Invariably, during challenge, difficulty, pressure, never during comfortable ease. What you call your best work always coincides with uncomfortable conditions, requiring maximum effort. Recognize this pattern clearly. Excellence appears when resistance demands it, and vanishes when comfort permits its absence. This is not coincidence, but law. Apply it deliberately. If you want excellence, create the resistance that demands it, rather than waiting for circumstances to provide it. In comfortable circumstances that do not naturally provide challenge, create it deliberately. This is not masochism, but recognition that you need resistance for excellence. Comfortable modern life eliminates most natural resistance. You must replace it with chosen difficulty, or accept the mediocrity that comfortable ease produces. The method. In any domain where you seek excellence, deliberately increase difficulty beyond what circumstances require until you reach levels that demand your maximum capability. Comfortable circumstances feel safe, but are actually dangerous. They permit the erosion of capacities you will need when circumstances inevitably shift to demanding ones. Every comfortable period is preparation for an inevitable difficult period. The comfortable man wastes the preparation time and suffers catastrophically when difficulty arrives. The wise man uses comfortable periods to build capacity that will be required when comfortable periods end, and they always end. You now understand the iron law. No resistance, no excellence. Remove all difficulty. Remove all possibility of greatness. The two states of human consciousness. There are two fundamentally different states of human consciousness: the awakened state produced by challenge, and the sleeping state produced by comfort. The comfortable man lives perpetually in the sleeping state, while believing himself awake, moving through foggy routine, never fully present, consciousness dimmed to a fraction of its potential. The man who embraces difficulty lives in the awakened state, heightened awareness, full presence, consciousness sharp and alive. In my 9th decade, having lived through wars, political triumph and disaster, personal grief and joy, I can testify from direct experience. The moments of greatest aliveness invariably corresponded with moments of greatest challenge. The comfortable years and I had some blur together in memory, indistinguishable and forgettable. The difficult years and I had many remain vivid and distinct, each challenge etched clearly in recollection. This is not nostalgia, but recognition of a fundamental truth. Difficulty produces consciousness that comfort suppresses. Throughout your day, randomly check the quality of your consciousness using this question. On a scale of 1 to 10, how awake am I right now? Track the pattern over several days. You will discover that consciousness varies dramatically based on what you are doing, and that comfortable activities correlate with low consciousness scores, while challenging activities correlate with high scores. Your most vivid memories correspond to periods of heightened consciousness, which correspond to periods of challenge. Your dimmest memories correspond to periods of lowered consciousness, which correspond to comfortable routine. Learn to distinguish between activities that require full presence, challenging conversations, difficult problems, physical extremes, creative work, anything with risk or uncertainty, and activities that permit consciousness to dim, routine tasks, entertainment, comfortable repetition. Deliberately structure your days to maximize time in presence-requiring activities and minimize time in consciousness-dimming ones. Comfortable routine induces a trance-like state. Break this trance deliberately. Alter routines. Insert unpredictability. Choose paths requiring improvisation. Face situations with uncertain outcomes. I would not trade one day of that difficult, fully conscious life for a century of comfortable, semi-conscious existence. This is not bravado, but honest assessment from the far side of a long life. You now understand that consciousness itself is at stake in your comfortable choices. Once you have experienced genuinely awakened consciousness during challenge, comfortable semi-consciousness becomes intolerable. You cannot return to comfortable sleep after experiencing what it means to be fully awake. The ultimate question is not achievement or comfort, but consciousness, how awake you are for the limited time you have. Your comfort will ruin your life, but difficulty will make you. We return now to the title's claim with transformed understanding. Your comfort will ruin your life, not eventually, but now, today, with every comfortable choice extracting its hidden price. But difficulty will make you, not break you, not harm you, but make you into something capable, conscious, and truly alive. I write these words in my 9th decade. Behind me lies a life that included 2 world wars, political triumph and rejection, personal loss and achievement, the deepest despair and highest elation. It was not a comfortable life, it was a difficult life, often brutally so. And I testify now without hesitation, I would not trade one day of that difficult life for a century of comfortable ease. For I have lived, truly lived, tested myself against the greatest challenges and discovered resources I never knew I possessed. I look back without regret, knowing I did not waste my days in comfortable dissolution but spent them in worthy struggle. This is not brave talk but honest testimony from one who has reached life's end and can assess fairly what mattered and what did not. Every choice you face can be simplified to one question: does this build capacity or provide comfort? Be ruthlessly honest in your answer. The comfortable choice masquerades as wisdom, as prudence, as reasonable balance. Recognize these comfortable disguises. The capacity-building choice often appears excessive, extreme, unnecessary. Recognize that these labels come from your comfortable self, resisting growth. The question cuts through comfortable rationalization. Capacity or comfort, growth or ease. You choose with every decision. At the end of your life, you will look back at how you spent your days. From that vantage point, every comfortable choice will seem empty. Every difficult choice that built something real will seem worthwhile. Live now from that future perspective. Never give in to your comfortable instinct to surrender, to take the easy path, to choose comfort over character. That is the battle you can win or lose, and it is the battle that determines everything. Every day presents this choice. Every day you decide whether to give in to comfortable impulse or stand against it. Tomorrow morning will come. When it does, you will face the first choice. Remain comfortably in bed or rise to face difficulty. That small choice determines everything that follows. Before sleep tonight, write 3 specific commitments you will keep starting tomorrow. 1 morning practice that chooses difficulty over comfort. 1 daily practice that builds capacity over seeking ease. 1 relationship practice that speaks truth over maintaining comfortable silence. Make each commitment specific enough to know whether you kept it or broke it. Begin tomorrow, not next Monday, not after some future event tomorrow. You have completed the journey from comfortable unconsciousness to deliberate choice. You understand why comfort destroys, what it costs, how to resist it, and what difficult living produces. Most importantly, you have been given the one thing required for transformation: clarity. You can no longer choose comfort unconsciously while calling it wisdom. You know what it is and what it costs. The choice is now yours, made deliberately with full understanding: comfortable ruin or difficult vitality. Choose and begin tomorrow. The work begins tomorrow morning. The life worth living awaits, but only you can choose it.